It was my mother, and due to my photographic memory, my mother was the first person who introduced me to a few men. They were present at and leading an indoctrination ceremony for me into satanic ritual abuse. This was when I was about 2 to 3 years old in New Zealand. Following this, I became aware that my mother was under the power and control of my father's father, that my grandfather was the main person in my family who called the shots as he was part of the hierarchy within New Zealand. My father was involved, yeah. So it was his father, my grandfather, who was the main person in my family, yeah. As a survivor from an early age, crosses were cut into my hands and feet, and I was told I belonged to Satan, that I would be forever watched and my every move known by him and all the cult members. I was systematically brainwashed into compliance, to believe it was all my fault, to fear death if I ever spoke of satanic ritual abuse. I was drugged into compliance and took drugs to survive the pain. I was punished and threatened if I wasn't obeying the order. For example, I was physically beaten, raped many times, my head held underwater. I was hung upside down from the rafters and over cliffs and told I would die. I was shot at. Another major time was that I had many spiders crawling over me and told a large spider had been inserted under my skin and it would eat me from the inside out if I ever spoke of satanic ritual abuse. I had to gratify many men standing in a line, one after the other, when I was about 7 years old. Food and water was withheld from me if I didn't obey. I was buried in a grave with rats and told I would be eaten alive. Sexual encounters were filmed and my exposure was threatened many times. I was told at a very young age if I screamed or made a fuss that I would end up in a mental hospital with no one to look after me, that they would throw away the key or I would go to prison, as everyone would find out I had been very naughty. Was told that I was a very naughty, bad girl all the time. I did scream out loud often, though. I rebelled and ran away, but I was always brought back and I was punished severely. I was put in a straitjacket at one time and it was given electric shock treatment to calm me down, supposedly. I then learnt to shallow breathe and to not speak much at all. I became a very good observer. I was told that my brother would be sacrificed and I would have to do it. And later on that my son would be sacrificed and I would have to do it. I witnessed ritual sacrifices and had to perform in them. I was forced to drink sacrificial blood and eat cooked flesh. I had to clean up after a sacrifice or many sacrifices perfectly and bury the dead in the grounds of the ritual venue. Sex with any gender was usual after a sacrifice. I was married at a young age to another chosen satanic member. I was impregnated many times from different men, though, and the fetuses were aborted. That was one pretty horrific stage to get through in my healing. I was allowed to birth one pregnancy, however, but he was given away at birth straight away. I was trafficked overseas in many countries to high-profile satanic members. In the UK, the Queen, a USA Vice President, a USA diplomat, a prominent UK rock star, two very well-known celebrities in the States, Prime Ministers in the UK and government officials in Ireland, government officials, doctors and teachers in New Zealand. I was exposed to and used for industrial espionage, selling arms, drug deals, weather and natural disaster controls, cloning factories, and negative spiritual practices.